So what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Emmanuel Rodriguez, and in today's video we're going to be discussing how to grow your wealth from nothing, starting from zero, or if you're into debt from student loans or any credit card debt, and how to get out of it, and also how to grow it to amass a good amount of wealth before retirement. So this video is inspired by the book The Richest Man in Babylon that I have read not long ago. So in this book, basically the character goes through a journey on how to amass his wealth by different teachings on mentors that he got along the way. This book, it's not the most easy to read since it's written in Old English, but it's pretty, you can understand basically what they're trying to say and the message behind their story. If you want to actually grab this book, you can find it in the link description below. I'm going to leave it for you guys to order to be able to buy it. This book is around $5, so it's not gonna break the bank, but it's gonna be a good read, and I consider it one of the best personal finance books in I would say the world. So the first step in order to amass a great amount of wealth is to create a budget. If you don't know what a budget is, or you haven't done one in a while, let me refresh your mind. And also, for the guys that don't know about that, let me show you how you do it. So basically, pretty simple. You take your total income, meaning everything that you take in the month by your job, any money that you make through your job, side hustle, or any allowance or anything like that. You take that and you total it, and that's your total income for the month. It has to be monthly though. Total income minus your total expenses, meaning anything that you spend money on in order to live your life. So basically your car payment, your rent, your mortgage, or your dog food, anything that you have to spend money on in order to live your life. So you get your total income minus your total expenses, and you get a positive or negative amount of money. So basically, if you have a surplus of money, that means that you have money left in your bank account in order for you to save it, invest it. We're gonna talk about that in the next couple of steps. But if you have a negative, if you have a negative number, then you need to adjust your budget because you're overspending in certain categories that you're not supposed to spend. Maybe you're spending more in going to restaurants, eating out, or having fun, or whatever. You need to decrease these expenses in order to have a positive cash flow. This is something that I always do with my girlfriend. I do this every single month, and even sometimes every 2 weeks when we get paid, we check our total income minus our total expenses, and we always have a surplus in order to use it to different types of investments and things that we want to do with that money. So remember, that's the first step that you got to do in order to make a great amount of wealth. You need to have your finances in check in order to be able to do the other steps that I'm going to talk about right now. So the second lesson that you gotta learn in order to amass a great amount of wealth is to save the money that after you create your budget, you hopefully have a surplus, so then you can save that money, and little by little you can do two things with that saved money. So basically, you can use that money in order to create what is called an emergency fund, which literally it says it on the name. An emergency fund is for emergencies. So let's say, for example, your car's motor break down and you need to replace the motor, buy a new one, or repair it, whatever it is the case may be. Then you could use that emergency fund in order to repair or replace that motor, and your stress levels are gonna be low because you're not gonna have to go into credit card debt. You're not gonna be thinking that you are going to be missing out on some certain things because you got now covered this expense. So basically, that's one way that you could use your save the money. That's one thing that you could do. Supposedly, by a lot of people, you need to have saved around 3 to 6 months of expenses. And even some people say that 12 months of expenses, which I think is ridiculous. That's a lot of money to have in a savings account, not earning any interest or any money. So I believe you should have at least 3 to 6 months. In my part, I take and I save 3 months of expenses just because I want to have the opportunity cost of using that extra money that it could be saving or putting in an emergency fund in order to work for me in whether it's different types of investments. So the second way that I believe that you need to save is for a down payment for a house. It doesn't matter if it's a house or it's a townhome, an apartment, it doesn't really matter. I believe that you should own the property that you live in always. At this time, if you are a renter, you are, in my opinion, burning away money. Basically, money that you could be using in order to create a savings for a down payment for a house, and then you could use that house to leverage your net worth over time. So basically, this is one step that I took really recently in my life. I'm 23 and I bought a home with my parents. Yes, I bought a home with my parents. But it always, after we make the mortgage payment, we always get some money back because we increase our net worth. Basically, well, obviously we took out a mortgage, and every time you make a payment on that mortgage, you get a boost on your net worth because you're paying some of that principal down. I understand that at the beginning you pay more, mostly you pay interest, but you're also paying principal, which it creates and it increases your net worth. So the third lesson emphasizes on after you create that emergency fund at fully funded, and also using the extra money that you have and saving it for a down payment, and you actually buy a home. After you do that, then that extra income that you have, you could use it to multiply itself. So basically, there's different ways to do this, but I'm gonna cover some of the main ones and the ones that make sense for me. So one of the ways that you can make your money work for you is to invest in individual stocks through the stock market. So basically, what I do is I look at companies that I believe have a bright future ahead. Their earnings are gonna be good. They are relevant for the future. Then I use my money to buy into these companies. Fractional share, you can do fractional share with little pieces of the company, or you could buy actual one share of the company and you can own it through these shares. This might be a little bit difficult for some of you guys that don't want to actually spend some time reading their financials and looking news and all these stuff that you actually need to do in order to be able to invest in this type of companies. You cannot go blindly because you're going to be investing in the wrong companies. They might be in debt, or their management not be a great management for that specific company. So you got to be careful because you got to understand all these things, and you need to do your research, because if you don't do that, then you're going to be buying into companies that are not worth. So the second way that I have for you in order to invest that money to multiply it is to invest in an index fund. It could be through your 401k, or it could be on a Roth IRA, whatever retirement account, or in your own way. You could invest in this index fund. So you may ask, what is an index fund? Well, an index fund, it's a basket of assets. In this case, it could be, for example, commodities. So commodities, or if you don't know, are things like oil, wheat, gold, silver. All these things are commodities. So in this case, a index fund that tracks commodity is all these commodities in a whole create a market. So this market, this index fund tracks how all these commodities are doing all together. One of the things that index fund have, it's one of them that are one of the most popular ones. It's an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, which are the best 500 companies in the United States. So if you invest your money into this index fund that tracks the S&P 500, which are the best companies in the United States, you believe that the United States in the long run is going to create more jobs, or companies are going to be bigger. So in this case, you're probably going to be good, because I believe the United States of America is going to go a long way, and it's going to keep creating jobs, and their companies are going to keep being bigger. They're going to grow bigger. So just a quick fact about the S&P 500 is that throughout a period of 40 years, it has given back a rate of an 8% rate of return to investors. So this is a good amount of growth that has happened throughout a 40-year period to investors. So there might obviously there's always turbulence throughout this whole, it's a 40-year period, so there's gonna have turbulence. For example, for people that started investing maybe 1980 or something like that, you might have obviously the dot-com bubble, which is really popular in 2000. You also had the home crisis in 2008, and recently you had the rona you had it in 2020, so basically last year. So this means that you're always gonna have some turbulence in when it comes to investing in the stock market, because nothing is perfect. Not always it goes up. So the third way that I have for you in order to multiply your money is to invest in real estate. So basically create rental, like buy rental properties. So this is a good way to increase your net worth pretty fast, because you could buy a home for less on what it is, because you might have some retail buyers that they want to actually buy the house ready to be owned, but maybe you could buy a home that is probably, let's say if you are in a market of 300,000, you might be able to buy a home that has ugly carpets, or maybe some kitchen, that the kitchen is ugly, all these things, all this cosmetic stuff that you could actually do some work and put in some time yourself, or you could have somebody to actually do it, and maybe you could buy this home for, let's say, 200,000. Then this means that you have a 100,000 difference right there, that you may have to replace a carpet and do some kitchen work and all that stuff. You might have to pay an extra, let's say $25,000-$30,000 on top of that. You pay 200,000 for the house, you pay 30,000 for labor and all these materials, and the house is in a neighborhood similar. Obviously the house has to be similar in square feet and bedrooms and all that. You have a vicinity or a neighborhood that that houses are in $300,000. So you basically made that difference in net worth. And if you could, there goes different advanced tips into that. You could actually, after you do everything that you do on the house, and the house is priced at a 300,000, you could actually refinance and you can pocket that difference. But that's some advanced tips for that. I'm gonna be covering that in the near future with other videos. But what I'm trying to say is that when you buy real estate and you buy rental properties, you could use this rental properties in different ways. You could use it obviously by renting it and getting a cash flow, but you could invest that money to create more money into your net worth by having a property. And every time that renter or that person that is renting from you, it's actually paying down your mortgage and you don't have to pay it. So basically you're making more money. You're making, even if you don't cash flow, let's say your mortgage is 2,000 and they pay you 2,000. Even if you don't make money on the cash flow side, but every single month they're paying down your mortgage. And remember, when you pay down your mortgage, there's a principal that you always paying as well. You're paying interest and you're paying a principal, and then that's every single month you're getting a net worth surplus on that principal pay down. So that's pretty cool. So the fourth lesson, it's about buying and owning your own home, apartment, and condo. Like I said before in the previous lessons, I already touched on that in the previous lessons, but I'm gonna give you the benefits that you have by owning your own place. Obviously, if you need to rent because of your circumstances or because you're saving money for that, then by all means keep renting, and whenever you can buy your home. But I recommend to always buy your home, because you get some great benefits out of that. So I'm gonna be talking about them right now. So whenever you buy a home, you have a variety of benefits. So one of the benefits is that you get tax benefits, which is really good. You can use the taxes that you pay for your home every single year. You can deduct that from your income that you make from your job. So that's pretty good, because you're paying less in taxes. And to be honest, who doesn't like to pay less in taxes? Come on, like, really? We all do. Another benefit of buying a home, it's by your credit score increases because you're taking on a home loan, which is looked as on banks. It looks good because you're trying to, obviously you take a loan to own your own home, so that looks good for banks. You gotta remember that you need credit score. I know some people say that credit score is bad and you need to use debit cards and cash and all this stuff, but let me tell you something. With credit cards, you can do a lot of things. There's a lot of benefits of credit cards. There's fraud benefits. Obviously, for your credit cards, if you swipe your money, it's not in a debit card that you might have to fight that for a long time. You have your fraud security. You also can rack up points. I understand that some of you think that points are not necessary, but it's pretty good if you own a business and you gotta use the money either way. You gotta spend some money, you put it on a credit card and you get some of the benefits that credit cards have. It's also good to have a credit card or for credit scores. So if you are if you want to get into investing in real estate, it's good to have a good credit score to get the less amount of percentage that you need to pay. For example, for me, I had a good credit score for this house, and I got a 3% on the loan, so I'm paying interest of 3% on the loan, which is pretty good. I would say it's pretty good for a home nowadays. And another benefit that you get whenever you buy a home is that every time you pay down your mortgage, you increase your net worth by a little bit. In this case, or in my case, every time I pay my mortgage, I get around $500 of net worth increase for myself. So that's pretty cool because you're increasing your net worth every single month, and who doesn't like their net worth to increase every single month? So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited. So the fifth lesson in order to create and amass a great amount of wealth from nothing is to acquire skills in order to increase your income. I'm going to be covering some of them right now, and I'm going to be covering the most popular ones and also the most common ones as well. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the actually going to college and going to university. The most traditional way of going about it, the college, the university. I'm sorry, I can't speak English right now. The university is pretty late though. It's pretty late. And the university and college. So you go about it, you go regular 2 years, 4 years, and maybe sometimes 6 or 8 years, depending on your field, medicine, lawyers, and things like that become, it takes a lot of years to become this type of fields because they need a lot of training and a lot of studying. So if you want to become those two, you got to be careful because, or some of them, or a lot of them, you got to be careful because you can rack up some debt, and we don't want to actually have debt in our lives. Some people say that student debts are good, that if you can't afford to go to college and university and all these types of programs, you need to actually get into debt. But I would tell you again and again and again, please do not get into debt to go to school, because I feel that it's not worth it. Yes, you're going to be making a lot of more money on taking out that debt, but at the end of the day, we all are humans. After you go to college and be let's say a surgeon or something like that, you start spending money and you're never going to pay down that debt, and that debt's going to start accruing interest, and it's going to be a whole nightmare for you. So please do not do that for yourself. So the second way that I'm going to cover right now, it's trade school. It has become popular nowadays, going to trade school, because it's most of the times it's a 2 year program, or 4 years sometimes, and you acquire great skills and to make money right away. For example, you can become an electrician or a plumber or any other skills that you might be interested on, but these skills are in need right now. electricians and plumbers make around $60,000 to $80,000 a year and more whenever they get more experience in the field. So that's something that you have to consider about, because you might be better than actually going to college or university. You might start better than someone that goes to these, college and university, because they might take on some debt that you're not going to be taking, because it's going to be really affordable to go to trade school. So you gotta look at your options and consider what's the best one for yourself. So the third way to acquire skills and create more money is to become an entrepreneur, a business person, or create your own business. So in most cases, this is going to be a risky move. It's going to be really risky. You're going to have to put a lot of hours to learn new skills. For example, for myself, currently I'm starting my YouTube channel, and guys, it's not as easy as people think about that. I'm going long hours recording videos, planning out videos, scripting, editing, checking this audio if it's good, and this actual take took me about 1 to 2 hours to actually record, because I'm starting out now and I trip a lot of times with my words, especially because my language, sorry, my language, this is not my mother, English is not my mother language. My mother language is Spanish, and this is my second language, so it's pretty difficult for me to talk in front of a camera. I'm not talking to a person, so it's pretty difficult to actually do it, and a lot of times I just messed up and I have to redo it and redo it again. So this is a skill that I want to acquire, because it's gonna give me a lot of benefits in the future. I'm gonna be able to speak better when I'm in front of cameras, when I'm in front of people. I'm gonna deliver my message easier. So this is our skills that I'm acquiring right now. But you might acquire some other skills, like maybe open up a business on, maybe let's say on eBay, reselling stuff on eBay. I used to do that before, and it takes a lot of time, because you got to learn everything, the program, the software. You got to learn how to send the packages, what to actually buy, because you don't want to spend money that you're gonna have something sitting down there for months. So you gotta acquire new skills in order to become more successful in life, because if you stay stagnant, you're not gonna go anywhere, and you're just gonna be the same every single year, and later on in life you might regret it. So always start acquiring new skills, and I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. Well, now that we have arrived to the end of the video, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about the the 5 lessons on how to grow your wealth from nothing. And let me know also in the comment section below if you're going to be implementing one of them into your life in order to start creating wealth. And also, yes, this is not a real fire. I know, shocking, right? This is not a real fire. That's a TV. I'm sure you guys know that. But anyways, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also share with your friends and family. I'm super happy that I'm making videos and providing you as much value as I can. And that's all for me today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. Peace.